Welcome back. We are going to be sharing another incredible story. I have Mehr here today, who's joining us from Pakistan. And like I always say, when we tell these stories, we go behind the highlight reel, beyond what we post on social media, so that we can get to the real raw stories of women from all over the world. And what you do in your business is directly because of what you went through in your own personal life. You help people walk through grief, what happens after they lose a spouse, all of that process. So I would love for you to tell me, how did this journey start for you?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Monique, for having me here. It's actually a pleasure. And yes, definitely, like you said, my journey into grief coaching began as a deeply personal one. I lost my husband 5 years ago due to sudden cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a moment that changed my life forever because grief, such as this, it doesn't come with a handbook. There was just a before and after. And having faced this loss in my life, I experienced firsthand how isolating and overwhelming grief can be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the first few months, even the first 2 years, they were a complete haze. And I had kind of given up on my life, on everything. And yeah, but as you know, we realized that we all have been sent here, Monique, with a purpose. And the sooner you realize that, the better it is. And there was definitely that moment in my life, which I call a moment of transformation, which
Mm-hmm.
really, really led me to realize that, if he's gone and I'm here, then there must be a reason. And well, after this realization, I'd say one thing led to another. And I realized that while I was grieving, there was not much emotional support that I would have liked in those days. And I found that there was a gap in the support for those who are going through similar journeys because people often feel lost in their grief, unsure of how to take the next steps or how to make sense of their feelings even. So
Oh,
these realizations, yeah, these realizations, they sparked the beginning of my journey as a grief coach. And today I help individuals navigate the complexities of loss by giving them a compassionate space where they can process their emotions, they can reconnect with themselves, and gradually find hope again.
mhm. I love what you said when you said the first year, even two, was a blur, because that's what I found as well when I lost my daughter. It is a complete blur when I look back. It just, for other people, it might be like, oh, that's been a while, she's going to be fine. But the first 2 years, you almost don't even remember it. It's just hard to grasp that it's actually real, that it's happened, that you're here, and
Exactly.
I loved what you said too, where people, they, there's a lot of complex emotions. Did you go through anger? Were you angry at him? Were you confused? Were you wishing it was the other way around? What were specific things that you went through?
Yeah, Monique, interestingly, when you look up the word grief, even there are a lot of models that come up. But what I have found in my experience, and also after working with people, is that grief is not a linear experience.
No.
I was angry at him. At the same time, I was also in denial. At the same time, I was also depressed. So all of these things were, I don't know, there was no neat predictable shift. And it's different for every person. Every person's journey with grief is unique. So yes, definitely to answer your question, I was definitely angry at him for the longest time for going on and leaving everything, my kids, work, everything on me just like that. And yeah, the good thing was that I had already started working with him before he passed away for the last 5 years. So I had an idea of the business and everything else. I don't know, maybe it was God's sign for him to have me join him. I don't know, who knows? So I took things forward from there. And yes, there was anger, there was denial, there was confusion, and all the other complex emotions which you just mentioned. And like you said, that people don't understand. And I'm sorry to say that the people who haven't faced a similar grief, they don't even know what to say to the grieving
Don't.
person.
Oh no, they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. So usually they just kind of disappear. Maybe we'll
Yeah,
just go over here, you know?
exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, which, is not helpful. I when you talked about the various things and how grief is not linear, that's the other thing I think that confuses people who haven't been through major loss is it feels like, oh, if there's a step forward, it's a step forward and they're better and they're moving forward. But you can take 3 steps forward and in the next hour take 4 steps back. It's just all
Absolutely.
over the
Absolutely.
place.
Yeah. 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 Because the people don't realize, even the ones who are grieving and the ones who are supporting them, they don't realize that it's not something that you get over. It's something that has to be integrated into the life of the person who's grieving. Because you have to learn to live with it, basically, in
You
short.
learn to live with it. Yes. There is no, are you over it? There's no over it because it still impacts you. It'll impact you every single day of your life. You're just navigating how, and you're getting better at it, right? And then you have more tools for it. Did you find that you would, or even with your clients, where you feel like you're making progress and you're learning to deal with it, and then there's an anniversary or an event or a situation that just takes you right back?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, Monique, I still, even today, when I have an interaction with the client, I feel that it's as much a healing experience for me as it is for them. Because every interaction with someone's grief that I've had, I have also learned a thing or two in the end, also. And of course, I am there to make them feel better and to make them realize that we're on the same side, right? Like
Yes.
I feel you, I hear you. Maybe I have a slight idea of what you're going through. So this is basically the purpose. And in the end, if they go back feeling just a little bit better, then I consider my job done. This is
Yeah,
how.
absolutely. I know because I remember at one point that was the big goal is if I could feel better and if I could have 2 days in a row that felt good, if I could string some good days together because it felt like there was such long gaps and
Yeah,
stretches where it was just getting up and putting one foot in front of the other felt so hard.
I understand. Yeah, yeah. Because this is what I keep telling everyone and everywhere, that it's okay to pause. It's okay to let yourself feel what you're feeling. Allow yourself to sit with your feelings. Because, Monique, the thing is that people usually keep their feelings bottled up and usually ignore them and think that, busying themselves in work is going to help. That is not the most helpful thing to be done here. You
Yeah.
need to cry, you need to grieve, you need to mourn, you need to feel everything that comes. And if it's that kind of day, well, take a break, pause, sit with yourself. The world's not gonna end. And
That's
then
it.
if you do take such a break, you feel that you come back stronger and better, more in control of yourself, more in control of your next step. So why not? Why not? And this is the thing that like I said, I repeat that I keep saying everywhere and to everyone, that please, it's okay, go take a break.
It's true because what I found is if I wouldn't pause, if I wouldn't take a break or, go sit at a coffee shop or just stare at the sky or take a nap or cry, then every single person and every single thing was bigger. And I was going to blow something up over there. I was going to overreact to something. It was going to come out in it even though I wanted to believe that I could separate it. It's very hard to, especially in the beginning. It's just grief. It affects everything
Mhm.
physically, mentally, emotionally. When I was in deep grief for the first year, I felt like I had the flu every day. My body ached. And that's the thing, like you said, when you don't have permission or you won't take the pause, slow down, be with it doesn't go anywhere. It's all still there. Like I remember
Yeah,
someone told me you can deal with it today, you can deal with it as it comes up, or you can deal with it in 5 years or 10 years, but you're going to deal with it no matter what. You're going to deal with it.
yeah, yeah. Because For anyone who's going through any kind of grief, all experiences are valid at any time. We just have to allow ourselves to feel them without judgment. And then there's nothing wrong in taking small steps, one step at a time. Because I heard this often being said to me that, one day at a time. And I used to laugh it off. You see, I take 1 hour at a time sometimes. I have those kind of days also, and that's okay. Because
Oh,
it's
yes.
okay to have the ups and downs, it's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
And one other thing, one very important thing is I feel that it's okay to reach out for help, which most people are very reluctant to do.
Very reluctant.
Yeah,
I find this is a huge thing with grief, and every situation kind of has its own tricky spots.
yeah,
Is I found that a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about what happened to you, what happened to
exactly.
me, are uncomfortable talking about death and ending. So if they talked to me about my situation, then they were confronting how they felt about all the above, right?
Mm.
And so I think that that is honestly what prevents people from reaching out for help because they figure, well, if my friends and family don't know how to deal with me, does somebody else? But truthfully, the people closest to us, they're probably the worst at it because they do care about us.
Yeah, they do. So it's absolutely okay to reach for people, and trust me, there are people who have been through something similar. Although everyone's journey is unique, this grief journey, but there are people. Because I remember in the early days, I joined some Facebook groups, and then I realized that it's universal. Everyone is grieving their loss in a way that can be related to
Yes.
somewhere they have experienced something similar, so maybe I can talk with them, they can talk with me, and that was, I'd say, reassuring. That
Yes.
was yeah, it was actually kind of maybe comforting is the word, to know that there are other humans, other people in the world who are going through something similar. So it's okay to reach out for the people who get it.
Yeah, it's true. Because it does feel so isolating and lonely. I think those situations help us to see, like you said, everybody's grieving something. Every
Yeah,
person's experienced loss or heartbreak. It's part
that's
of the
true.
human experience as much as we don't want it to be. This is part of life.
Exactly, exactly. Because I started this work for people who had lost their spouses, but believe me, the people who have come up to me, with the kinds of grief, from losing a pet to losing their favorite toy, literally, they wanted to talk about it once they understood that, maybe I am someone who will kind of understand what they're trying to say. So literally, like you said, everyone is grieving about something. So keeping the feelings bottled up is not going to help. It's always good to say it out loud.
Yeah.
And in your case, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity for writing it,
Yeah,
putting it
absolutely.
in a chapter.
I want to talk about those baby steps because I know this can look different for everybody, but just to throw some things out, because I began to identify baby steps for myself and I even write them down so that when I couldn't think clearly or I had forgot what a baby step was, I could go back to it, or I'd have two people who I say these things help me, so remind me of these things. What were baby steps that you found, or tools or things that helped you kind of become get get a little traction and be able to feel a little bit better?
This is a beautiful question that you have asked me. I think it begins with accepting the reality, which is one of the hardest parts. Really, really. Whatever we want to do, we don't want to accept that that person is gone. This is one of the most painful and touching points. But it has to start from accepting in a way, because why I say this, we have to accept that the reality has changed. The truth is
Mm,
no longer what we think it was. And when the reality changes, it means that we have to shift our perspective about how we visualize life now. Today, the life is going to be what it is, what I'm seeing now, but it's going to be minus that person, because they're gone. And because of them not being in the equation, every freaking thing is going to be different. This
Oh,
is the hardest part to accept.
oh my
And
goodness.
yeah,
Let's talk about that because I found that this was actually a second loss or like a whole thing to grieve is you probably envisioned your life with your future with your husband or
yeah,
the things you were going to do or the places you were going to go or
mm,
and I think that that was what happened to me like the vision that you had for your life is gone. The
yeah,
future reality that you thought was going to happen. So you have the loss of the person and you
yeah,
have a loss of that future that you were going to have with them. And I think you're so right. Accepting what is, not living in this magical thinking and fantasy world of, one day they're going to walk back in the door or somehow e- everything can still be the same. Because you said it. When
yeah,
one thing changes, everything changes.
absolutely. And one very important thing that people don't realize is that they are grieving at that version of themselves that went with them.
Bingo. Because you're different.
Other than that person being gone, not not around them in their life anymore, they grieve that part. I mean, who I was when my husband was around. I'm not going to be that person again.
No, you're
So
not.
that also. I heard about that. I feel that the absence of, the that thing not being possible anymore. I grieve that also.
Oh, yeah.
So these are the harsh realities of, and as painful as it may sound, it has to start somewhere from these things, from these realizations. And then one other thing that I used to think that, maybe if we had gone to the hospital earlier, we would have done this, we would have done this, is forgiveness. Forgiving yourself, you know, what happened had to happen. I I couldn't change it. I wouldn't have been able to change it. Happen whatever may.
That's a big
So,
one. That's a
yeah,
big one.
yeah,
This rehearsing in your mind. This is why I think I was exhausted for 2 years. I rehearsed in my mind all the possible scenarios. If
yeah,
I would have done this, or if I would have done that, or this one, and then there would have been a different outcome. And it's like, it's what's done is done.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And with this emotion also comes some guilt. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Maybe if I would have done this, maybe the maybes, the ifs, the buts, and could haves and would haves, and yeah, all these things.
Yes. Yes.
This is also something that you need to face. You
Mhm.
really need to look all these emotions in the eye and hear what they're saying to you and face them. That this is with reality come these emotions. It's not you word use the word complex. These are definitely complex emotions, definitely, and they remain being complex for as long as they want to. They're not
Yeah.
easy. This is not an easy path.
No, no. I
It's not
say
easy.
that loss and grief throws you in the deep end. I mean, you are navigating the deep waters. You're not in the kiddie pool. You're not even the swimming pool. You're in the big, wild ocean,
Oh yeah, oh
and
yeah,
you're just trying not to drown.
yeah, yeah. And after, if you're at this stage, if you have covered these steps, then I feel that what you have to do, and I say this to everyone also, that it has to be a conscious effort. You have to get up and remind yourself every day that yes, this is your new life, but it doesn't have to be all hopeless. It doesn't have to be bleak and dark. Well, you will have your days, you will have your ups and downs, and that's absolutely okay. But it is going to be a conscious effort. And in that effort, you have to find a purpose or a meaning because that is going to help you greatly in
Yeah.
moving on, not moving forward, moving on. Moving on from where you are to a better place, towards being a better person, towards evolving in your life, towards maybe helping some other people out. And the purpose doesn't have to be grand or life changing. It can be something as simple as, I don't know, just following a to-do list every day. That's it. So that's it. I feel that finding purpose it helps greatly. you know. It encourages people to reconnect with what brings them a sense of life, you know, engaging in
Yes.
meaningful activities and creating new goals for themselves, and then celebrating the small wins when those goals are achieved. And maybe it can be around honoring the memory of your loved one, you know. It can be a purpose also. Then practicing gratitude for whatever you have, because everyone has a lot. We're all blessed human beings. We're all blessed with gifts. A lot of things, a lot of stuff we don't even acknowledge in a day, you know. But if you look around, like really look around, all of us are gifted. And I know it is difficult to practice gratitude during grief, but even like I said, it's a conscious effort. Even small amounts of gratitude, they can shift perspective. They can
Oh, yeah.
lessen the emotional burden, you know. And
That's it.
in the same context, I feel that gratitude journaling really helps a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, for people who say no, we can't pick up a pen and paper, and you know we can't write. I say pick your phone, send messages to yourself, to your. I used to write notes to my husband all the time. I knew no answer was going to come back, but that really helped me in those early days. So it's always good to put it in words, whatever you're feeling, put it in words.
Mm. I love these tips because it's true. It's one of the things initially I felt a resistance and resentment around gratitude. And what I realized is it did make me feel better. It wasn't about like in the beginning, it's just about finding relief wherever you can, even if it's a pocket of relief, even if it's for
Yeah.
5 minutes of relief, a moment of relief, you know, looking at a flower, enjoying a meal, sitting with just sitting
Mm,
next to someone you
mm,
care about. It's just about creating relief in spurts and then being able to move it, be able to extend it and hold it for longer.
exactly, exactly. And I think the concept of mindfulness, that's also very important
Oh, yeah.
because, well, what are we grieving about? Something that happened in the past? It was the past.
Oh,
It
yeah.
happened in the past, you know? Today, what I'm doing, I'm just crying over or feeling sorry about a memory, about something that happened in the past. So, what I can do today is, first of all, ground myself in the now.
Yes.
That really helps. That for me, grounding myself and being mindfulness has been a game changer, really, really.
I agree. I actually remember the first time I realized this isn't actually happening right now and today. And it's wild to say that, but it was this aha moment of I'm choosing to relive something painful that's already happened, or I could just live this moment. And that was huge. And when I would fall back in, I'd just be like, do you want to relive it? Not really, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might
And
in the present. Yep.
one other thing that if I can, if there's one thing that I want to say to someone and everyone out there, please prioritize yourself. Please. That's the most important thing. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. And that is the the first thing that people stop doing. They
So true.
forget about it. Yeah. They keep on doing, they keep on dragging themselves for everything and everyone else, and they forget themselves. And this is wrong on so many levels. Because if I am not feeling good, how am I going to be there for other people, like for my kids, at my work, and all the other responsibilities that I have? So, what it is, in the end, I'm going to say, oh, I'm having a bad day. Please don't come near me. No, this should not be the case. So, please think about yourself. This is first and foremost. This rule comes first,
Mm.
like no
Yep.
questions asked.
Yep. You've got to take care of you. And I think sometimes too, when we think about asking for help, we think of that in sort of a big, broad spectrum. But sometimes asking for help is, will you make me a cup of tea? Will you make me lunch? Will you
Yeah.
take the kids so I can take a nap? Will you pick this up for me? Um, it's those baby things, and when we can practice asking for help in those things, then we can ask for help in the bigger things. And the whole point of it is so that we can then come back and take care of ourselves because we're the ones who we've got to do it. Mm,
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I strongly believe in the resilience of the human spirit.
that's
I
it.
believe that we can bounce back from all sorts of things. Yeah, we can.
It is actually that was one of the real gifts of grief for me is human beings are incredible. We can recover from everything, from the most painful things. And a big aha for me was my best days were not behind me. There is still there's incredible things that are going to happen in the future, even though this happened.
Absolutely. There you are. Yeah. Yeah. That is so true. Because the thing is that if I am here, if I am living, breathing, that has to mean something. I can make it mean something at any point that I want to. And same goes for every other person who's grieving a loss. Because the thing is that I am a different person today, but for me to become this person, probably some things that happened, well, maybe they had to happen. This is one way to look at it.
Absolutely. I love your story. I love the work that you're doing because dealing with grief is dealing with life. It's one and the same. Where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, I have my website, griefcoachingwithmeher.com, and then I always respond to DMs on Facebook, Mehr Syed, and then griefcoach_Meher, it's my Instagram. And I also have a YouTube channel by Grief Talk, where I invite guests who have something to say about grief, their story, or anything they want to share. And we talk about grief, and well, I love the topic. That's all I can say.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for opening your heart and for being willing to navigate this for yourself and then to turn around and help so many others through their process.
A pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Until next time, I just want to remind you that your experiences, they're not just for you, and your story, it does bring light to others. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can read more about this story in our upcoming books. Until next time, bye.